Um, what does everybody want? Al Snow. The A Show.
Where smart is the new sexy.
And now, April Hunter.
Hola, wie geht's? Salud. Welcome everybody to the A Show, where we have a very special guest today. Big Ray, we're on to you.
Wait, hold on. You forgot hola, you forgot konnichiwa. You got all that other good
Konnichiwa,
stuff.
bitches, that's right.
Konnichiwa, bitches. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you real quick. You know, I'm going to leave this music playing for a second. You guys out there have no idea how long I've wanted to talk to this man. I've reached out to him. I've sent carrier pigeons. It's been ridiculous. 3 of them came back dead. It's a story for another day. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen. You may not know him. You may know him. I'm pretty sure you do. But if you don't, let me just lower this down here. All you people into ASMR. And let me just... No, we're not going to play that one. We're going to play this one. Okay. Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen. Just brings back memories. You may know him from ECW. You may know him from the WWE, Impact Wrestling. This man has been all over the world. He is a professional wrestler, entertainer, actor. He's very handsome. Ladies and gentlemen, he is also a teacher. And a lot of our friends at HMG sat under his learning tree. That rhymed. Just so you know that. I didn't write that down. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is the one. It is the only. He is a super friend. We'll get into that a little later on. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Mr. Al Snow. What's going on, sir?
Hey. Thank you guys very much. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Sincerely. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
No,
so cool.
Thank you.
You know, this is such a cool moment for me.
Ray's like, please let me introduce him. I'm like, you go ahead and do that.
Would you stop?
You forgot to mention that Al was also in the corner of Dan Severn during UFC back in the day.
Well, let me tell you something about
At
Dan
the height
Severn.
of popularity.
One of my very favorite interviews, a gentleman, super cool and really down to earth, but he would just basically rip your arms off if he had to, right?
True. It's like fighting a bear.
Jesus Christmas.
You know, he's ridiculous. Yeah. He's incredible.
He's he looks like if God were to make a man, you know?
Yeah.
If this is what a man's supposed to be like.
A real man's man.
And then you throw on that big, thick fireman's mustache. Oh,
yeah. The
absolutely
Tom Selleck mustache.
And, that's hot.
It's a Marlboro Man thing.
Yeah. And then you play the Steven Regal entrance music.
He's a man.
He's a man, a real man. He's a man.
Wonderful, man. Well, listen, Al, seriously, man, it's really cool to have you on. We're not going to talk much professional wrestling, but for those people that really don't know right now, I mean, you are with Ohio Valley Wrestling, and I have a tons of friends that came up through that system. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now for those fans that haven't seen you in years?
What I'm doing is I began my relationship with OVW, or Ohio Valley Wrestling, back in the early 2000s when John Laurinaitis, who was the head of talent relations at the time with WWE, asked me to come down here and basically head up the developmental division of WWE. They had a relationship with the OVW, and they sent me down here to head up that developmental program. And then when they ended that relationship with OVW, I separated, left OVW for a couple years, kind of just, did the independence around the world, so to speak. And then got affiliated with Impact Wrestling. Became a executive with Impact Wrestling, and with Bruce Pritchard, we created a developmental system for Impact, or TNA. And then, of course, because it was just 2.5 hours up the road, we partnered with OVW, and I came back and started to kind of head up things again with OVW as far as the developmental for Impact. And then that came to an end, and the relationship ended. And then in 2018, I had moved back to Louisville and began very loose conversations with Danny Davis with OVW. And one thing led to another, and I decided to rib myself and buy a wrestling company. And
Jeez. You wanted to lose money?
and that's exactly what I did, along with my partners at that time, which were Chad Miller and Joe Reeves, and then later Larry Benz came in on board, and then a few years later, after the pandemic, we had partners of Greg Greenberg and Matt Jones and Jeff Tuflin, and so that's where we're at now.
Excuse me for 1 second. A couple of our listeners are asking if you might be able to speak up just a little bit.
Oh, I'll try. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Promo time.
Yeah.
He just put over.
My
He just put over that he
voice
drinks. You just put over that you drink 7 energy drinks a day.
Yeah. Well, it's not that. It's
I just want to hear you.
My voice has changed, as you can tell. I had hiccups for 14 days straight.
What?
Yeah. And it did something to the muscles in my throat. Had a ear, nose, and throat guy check it, and for whatever reason, the muscles in my throat constrict that you use to whisper. So now I get to talk like this, like I'm Christian Bale doing Batman all the time.
Well, it's kind of hot. I got to be honest with you.
Can you say I'm the Batman right now?
I'm the Batman.
I love it. That's
He's stealing Stevie
like
Richards. You know how Stevie Richards now talks for like
Stevie has that. Yeah, Stevie has a raspy voice as well. Yeah. But that was because he got hit, in the throat, and then had the surgery and all of that.
Right. Could have been hiccups though.
I literally had the hiccups. Yeah, for 14
That's
days.
Crazy. 14. Is that a record? Like, are you on?
I don't know. No.
Somebody had it for a year. I've heard about those people.
Yeah, some people. I don't know how they live. I'm telling you. I wanted to die. I'm not kidding. Like, especially the last day, it was horrible. But I took, they tried to treat it with antipsychotics, which was amazing. And
I bet it was.
It was incredible. I've never done any kind of really drugs. Not that I judge. I don't care. You know what I mean? It means nothing to me. But literally, I've never done any. And so that experience was wacky, weird. So I got out of the hospital and we went to a autograph signing convention in Indianapolis. And Kevin Fertig, who was, Seven, can't remember his other gimmick in WWE.
Oh, when he wore the whole white.
The whole white thing.
Right.
They offered to let us stay at their house, right? And so if I stay, I'm very I don't want to be obtrusive in any way because it's somebody else's home, and I'll go out of my way to try to be as uninvolved as possible. So and I still to this day I don't have any idea what happened per se, but nothing crazy, but I was having a dream that I was planning a celebration. Okay. And I don't know what this thing is still now, but I knew if I found it, it would be the best day ever. So I woke up and I had to go to the restroom. And normally, I'll sleep with, sweatpants or whatever if I'm somebody else's home. I'm just in my underwear. So I head right out, go to the bathroom. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I've still got to find this, and it's going to be the best day ever if I find it. That's all that matters. So I began to go through their entire bathroom. Now, I'm not just talking about their medicine cabinets like normal people. I'm talking about all their cabinets. I took the lid off the back of their toilet.
Were you on the
And
drugs at the time that they gave you?
yeah, I was.
Oh,
Yeah, a
okay.
lot
So
of them. Yeah,
you
a
were
lot of
seeing
them.
like awesome things. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I didn't stop there. I proceeded to go into Kevin and Katie's bedroom while they were sleeping and go through all their nightstands, all their closets, all of their belongings in the room while they were laying in bed, semi awake, watching me do this. And then left, went in their daughter's room, went in their son's bedroom, went downstairs. I wasn't done. I went through their entire kitchen, to the where I went through the refrigerator, through the stove, through every cabinet, every dish, and then went into the living room and the office. The only place I didn't go was the basement of the garage. I couldn't find this, but if I'd have found it, would have been the best day ever.
So maybe I'm lost here. What is this? What
It
is
sounds.
this?
It
I
sounds
don't
like you're
know.
on an Ambien.
Oh, you don't know what this was?
I don't know what I don't know. I just know that if I'd have found it, would have been the greatest day ever. So
Oh my.
Wow. Well, they do say the dreams try and help you figure out what you need to fix. So I give you props for really trying.
Are you still
I
looking for
tried.
this,
I tried.
or are you still looking
Well,
for this?
what's funny is we went back like a year later, right, to another same convention, stayed at their house, and then when Katie, Kevin's wonderful wife, was up cooking breakfast in the morning, she was like, looking for particular pots and pans, dishes. I was like, oh, it's up there, it's in that place, it's right down there. I remembered everything from the year before where I went through their entire kitchen. So
That is awesome.
Except for where this was.
yeah, I couldn't find this. I
One
could
day,
not
yeah.
find this. And I don't know what this was, but I'm telling you, it was the key to everything.
Wow.
I always found that ironing was kind of like peaceful. It brought peace to
It
me.
wasn't
So maybe-
ironing. It was more like, where you like use it on fabric or you use it on dough for pie dough where you make a crust, you roll it, the roller, and it anyways.
Well,
That was what I was looking for. That was what I was looking for.
Did Kevin follow you around the house?
No.
Do you even remember
And
that?
and the next morning when I told everybody,
That's
hey,
hilarious.
I just want to let you guys know, like, I got weirded out and, went around the house, and he was like, oh yeah, we watched you while we were, we were awake. I was like, why didn't you say anything? It was, well, we didn't want to, bother you. And we didn't know what you were going to do if you woke up. And I'm like, and they just acted like it was normal. Like, that's what I do all the time. I'm like, I've never done this in my life.
That's
But,
funny. Oh my
yeah.
God.
You spoke about OVW.
Yes.
And did you now? I have a little soundboard here, and one of my very favorite sound bites is of this gentleman. I just wanted a quick little thought process on this person and what you think of this guy right here.
Sure.
This is the Hustler of Rogers. Yeah, it's fucking me. Yeah, and listen to the fucking Hameen Media Group. That's Ben Hameen Media Group from Rip Rogers. Go get him and go fuck yourself.
What a class act. Let me tell you, I've been on the phone with this guy.
Yeah.
And a 5-minute conversation has turned into a 3-hour conversation.
Oh,
Your
of
thoughts?
course. Yeah.
Your thoughts. Your thoughts on old Ripper.
Rip has experience that you can't get anymore. Rip has an understanding of the art of what everyone is trying to, or claiming they're trying to do, that you can't get anymore. And Rip is kind of a signpost of what were the prevalent personas that were in the business at the time.
Can I just jump in for the listeners right now? We're talking about Rip Rogers. He is a legendary trainer. I'm talking about he trained people like John Cena, Batista. I'm just throwing names out there. Anybody who's like any good in the world of professional wrestling, except for Ben Hameen, he's trained them all. So, I mean, this guy is incredible. And he is old school. Like, think of Rocky, Mickey from Rocky.
Okay, think, when you say old school, right? You're determining that there's a new school.
Right.
Like, there's
Good
something new about the wrestling business.
Never
And
changes.
the sad thing is that there really isn't. You know, the same thing that was not real or ipso facto fake,
Mhm.
that was fake in 1910 is the same thing that's fake now. And that's just the outcome. The only thing that an audience wants to believe in are the same two things that they wanted to believe in back then. The same two things that they want to believe in now, which is who you are as a wrestler and why are you doing it.
Mm.
And, you know, this old school, new school kind of thought. Now, yeah, there are certainly, like, Rip is indicative of an old school. What I mean by that is that, like, when I broke in '82,
Mhm.
the majority of the people that were in this business were so eclectic and so eccentric and so hyper intelligent and creative that they could not quite function in normal society. And if they weren't in the wrestling business, you know, they'd probably be in jail or in prison. The difference today is that most of the performers, and I do say performers or
Mhm.
wrestlers, not workers because they're not, is that those guys have the benefit of the fact that they can integrate into the real world a lot easier. They can make the transition and depart out of wrestling and you know, and be a part of normal society. And guys like Rip, you know, um, they just couldn't. The only place that they flourished and the only place that they really were accepted and were understood was in the wrestling business. And don't make any mistake. I mean, Rip is an incredibly, um, very highly intelligent human being
Mhm.
and has a photographic memory. And as a result, is a little whacked out,
Yeah.
you know. And most of the people that you meet that are really of a higher intellect um, usually don't view the world the way the rest of the society does. You know, they're a little off. They're a little different.
Well, I'm crazy
So,
as shit. So I mean, maybe me and April are
uh,
pretty
you,
smart.
yeah, you guys might be incredibly high IQ. I'm sure that I know April is. I know.
Shh, don't tell anybody. We're just trying to get by on the titties here.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
works
yeah.
too.
No,
Thank you.
that's a profound statement. I never thought about that, but I mean, I did, but I didn't. I knew that at one point it seemed like WWE was almost doing like a cookie cutter thing where they wanted to have wrestlers that look where they were kind of conforming. They looked very conforming, even though it was a kind of a very unique business. So they wanted their cake and eat it too. It seemed like they wanted these unique looking gigantic freaks, but they also wanted them to conform. This was shortly after they went public.
Well,
So I thought that's kind of a challenge right there.
here's the challenge. Okay. The wrestling business has and will always be, if it's successful, it's the wrestler's business.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because they're the product. You know,
Mhm.
there's a big misconception, especially in today's wrestling, that, you know, with the advent of uh, the voice of fans who don't really understand
Mm.
what it is they're talking about.
Mm.
You know, oh, so and so got fired from WWE. We can never be fired as a wrestler because you're never hired. You know, it's a business relationship between the wrestler and the promoter. Promoter provides the platform
Mhm.
that allows you to make yourself a star, and then you go out, and the minute you walk through the curtain, your endeavor is to make yourself a star, to make yourself a viable product that an audience wants to buy. Meaning you're able to motivate them. At the end of the day, you're no different than a movie actor. Movie actors' value isn't in how well they act.
It's how well they
Movie
draw.
actors, it's how well they draw.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what justifies a studio's investment in them. And the same goes with wrestlers. And, you know, um, a wrestler goes out just like a movie actor does, takes advantage of the platform, makes themselves into a star, into an attraction, and then the promoter and the wrestler capitalize on that and exploit it, and they both make money. And that's kind of gotten lost in the business today, that understanding and that acceptance of that situation. But as a result, the real control, the real power always laid within the locker room for decades. It wasn't until, a big propaganda campaign, was launched in WWF, WWE to subvert that idea, and it became easy because there wasn't an older generation that passed down a lot of these things to the younger generation to make them understand that they really controlled the business. And it became Vince's business, and it became the writer's business, and no longer were the talent now held responsible for their successes or their failures. The writers and Vince were held responsible. And unfortunately, Vince and the writers have very little to do with it. I mean, it really comes down to the talent, and understanding and knowing that puts the power back in the talent's hands, but it also puts the onus, the responsibility back in their hands as well. They can say, oh, there's politics, and there's always politics, and it's by nature, a very competitive business. You're going to have to fight and struggle both inside the ring and backstage. You're going to have to be on guard 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's just part and parcel of what you do. But your success and your failures are 100% your own.
Yeah, and it seems that was almost like a calculated move. So at one point, the wrestlers, and we have a couple questions here I wanted to go ahead and address for a second, but
sure.
The wrestlers made a name for themselves. Yes. So if a wrestler left a territory, a lot of times they might take the fans with them. Sure. And it seemed like it was like I said, a calculated move to take the power away from the wrestler's name and put that into the umbrella of WWE or F, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And we'll just use that for an example instead of a Ric Flair or a, Mick Foley. So we'll just use those examples. So instead of people coming to see them specifically, they're just going to market the name WWE instead of the talent. And it was like they were deliberately trying to pull the power away from the talent. So I think the talent actually maybe started to believe that they didn't have as much power as they do. And there's so many things in wrestling that are so incredibly similar to what's going on in the actual world today. I always thought it was interesting where, you could take wrestling and you could take the government and you take the wrestlers and you take the people, and it's the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why, anybody who gets out of wrestling does very, very well in politics because they know so much. So they've seen so much, they've been through so much. Jesse Ventura is the most famous example, but there have been many wrestlers who have gone into politics and done very well.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is why Dwayne Johnson will be president of the United States. It's going to happen. They're ready.
It could potentially happen. Yeah,
can I tell you something, Alan April? The whole premise, if you watched his Young Rock show, if you ever watched it, it's basically his build to become president of the United States.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
I haven't seen it yet, so but I know it's there.
What's the term a lot of conspiracy analysts use? It's like preconditioning us to get ready for the inevitable.
That's not a conspiracy. Literally, okay.
It's like the movie about the train wreck in Ohio with the chemicals.
Right,
a couple of years ago when it actually happened. It's kind of just conditioning you.
Well, I don't know about that. Could be a coincidence, but when you have a train wreck in Ohio, that's a coincidence. When you have you have a train wreck in Ohio and you had a movie about it, that's a coincidence. When you have a train wreck that happened in Texas just a couple days later, that's even more of a coincidence. When you have one in Canada that happens right after it, that's now starting to get a little kabuki-ish. Now you have one in New Mexico, then you go, hey, wait a minute, something's going on.
You know, in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have so many
Florida.
that in Florida, then
Yep.
you have so many, then you got to go, wait a minute. We're out of the quinky dank and we're now
Yeah.
into something a
Train
lot more
train derailment
different.
season.
Yeah.
You could chalk it up to the fact that everybody's locked down and they don't have anybody to work. They're just hiring anybody off the street to fix those train tracks. No.
Or you could chalk it up to
No.
the fact that there's something bigger going on.
Oh,
Well, if we're going to talk about, okay,
we're gonna
'cause
talk about everything.
I mention this all the time, okay, and this is legit, okay, and I love how people go, because just so you know, the CIA literally came up with and created the label conspiracy
Theorist
Yeah,
during the
so that they
JFK
could
assassination.
so they could debunk
Yes.
possible questioning of the government.
They also came up with the
So-
term anti-vaxxers.
Yes,
and,
of course.
And
yes.
all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Fraud, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you guys are aware, okay? And a lot of people are not. The only reason I was aware is because I was flipping through the channels one day because I don't typically watch C-SPAN, and because I
C-SPAN,
really
who
don't care about
does?
politics. Yeah, but there was a female reporter, and she was being given an award, and she was talking about at the Washington Press Club about the importance of a free press. And she was, and this all ties together, just bear with me. She was talking about, how important the free press was in the government. And she mentioned in her speech about the fact that after World War II, the US government passed a law that it was illegal for the US government to propagandize its own citizens. And then quietly, on a Sunday night at midnight, they repealed that law.
Mm-hmm.
It was at the same time that, remember when we had the bank bailouts and everyone organized, both liberal, conservative, all that?
2008.
BS? Yep. They all went and they protested at the Federal Reserve and they chanted, "We're the 99%."
Mm.
Now, there is an organization that tracks literally the usage of labels in media and regular mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
And the labels of black, white, liberal, conservative, all racism, etc., have had a major uptick since they repealed that law at the same time as when everyone went and protested and told the government we're the 99%.
That's just a coincidence, Al. What are you talking
Oh
about?
yeah,
it's
you're
another
right.
coincidence.
Yeah,
They also
it's just coincidence.
they also passed Operation Mockingbird, which
Yes.
allowed the American government to deliberately propagandize its citizens, buy and sell journalism and journalistic articles, and put out fake social media accounts
Right.
without any kind of integrity whatsoever.
Yeah. So, don't think, you're talking about a government that, look, if they're responsible for 350 million US citizens,
Mhm.
I'm responsible for 6 kids. I lie to them every day. So,
Yeah, you're going to make it.
yeah.
As a
Just keep
father,
doing- just keep doing it.
as a father, I absolutely understand.
You're never gonna shoot straight with them. Come on.
No.
No, you gotta give them the full.
You got
you're not
this.
gonna
They'll
give them
learn
the
on their
whole
own.
picture. They'll learn it. It'll
Hell
be fine.
yeah.
They'll be
So
fine.
listen, guys, before we really get into our topics,
Yes.
I kind of wanted to put this over, Al. I saw this really cool, I guess you would say, promotional thing you put up on Instagram, and I wanted to share it with the listeners and the watchers right now. Do you mind if I just play this real quick? It's about a minute long.
Sure. I don't know what it is, but
Let's check it out. So it's really cool. Really cool guy in it. So let's see.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connects emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Jesus Christ, that was intense.
I want to go to your school now. I just want to get up and go.
So can you tell us, before we jump into all these really cool in-depth topics, tell
Sure,
because I saw this, and I got to tell you, whoever put together that ad did a phenomenal. I'm not even kissing up. It's a phenomenal job.
Levi, amazing guy.
My God.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to buy like elbow pads and just use them in the street.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Well,
April, careful.
That's why, people like April and myself, that's why we do what we do. I mean, that's that feeling, that you get when you walk out there. There's nothing that can describe it. There's nothing that could possibly make you feel more alive than, in that moment. That's the drug that you get hooked on and that you want to do and replicate and want to repeat, and you just keep searching to have that experience over and over again every single night, whether you work 7 nights a week or once a month or, once a year. You just desperately want to, have that experience over.
The
and over
adrenaline
again.
rush.
Let me tell you, my father. So I grew up. My father was a professional wrestler. That's how I got hooked up with Uncle Bill, Bill Apter. I've known him. That's my uncle, man.
One hen, 2 ducks, 3 squawking geese.
He calls me his adopted Jewish nephew, but I love that man. I love him so much.
I do too. I love
him
too.
so much, man.
I do too.
But my father, I used to see him come home after being away for like a week and just like beat the hell up. He had to get a real job, as I got older. But I get it, man. I used to see it in my dad's eyes. Rest in peace, Pops. But I get why you guys are addicted. He tried training me, and that shit hurt.
It does hurt. Oh
that
my God.
I took up. I was an amateur boxer for a bunch of years, and I found that to be, and I'm being straight up with you, man, way easier.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I took bumps in a boxing ring, so that was. So then
Us too. Kowalski's.
that shit fucking sucked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be so blunt, but anywho, yeah, man, I get it, man. The adrenaline, but Collar and Elbow, that this is your thing. Like you seemed like, dude, you were so passionate, and I was just so drawn into that ad. So can you just really quickly tell us what you offer and stuff there?
And I have to say, Aaron said you are one of the best trainers he has ever come across, and obviously he's coming from Killer Kowalski's too, so and Rip Rogers, so he's high praise to you.
Well, I'm very complimented. I think the world of Aaron. Collar and Elbow, my partner and I, Rod Hicks, wanted to, at the time there were some other wrestling, things out there, wrestling apparel and things like that. And what we wanted to do was try to create something that spoke to wrestling fans, and that if you were a wrestling fan, you got it. If you weren't a wrestling fan, you just saw the designs and you were like, oh, that's cool design, I'll wear it. But if you were, the most important thing was that you could wear it anywhere, and you didn't have to worry like somebody's going to walk up and go, oh, is that a wrestling shirt? That's fake. And you're like, hey, thanks, Murder, She Wrote. How long did it take for you to put the clues together, Angela Lansbury? I'm just curious how you solved that mystery at this point in your life. You know what I mean? Because as wrestling fans, for whatever reason, we still have to deal with that, which is, other people somehow want to feel superior or
Schadenfreude.
Yeah, where they, downplay what you enjoy. And you're like, you do realize when you went to watch Spider-Man, it wasn't a documentary about a teen shooting jizz out of his wrist, sticking to a wall. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we've been around teenagers. That could be a possibility.
It's possible. It's possible. I have some of my own. So, I mean, but it was a way to allow a fan to be a fan and be a fan all the time and not. And as a grown adult male, I don't want to wear the face of another grown adult male on my chest. I just, no matter how much of a fan I am. And I think that's why, like, Steve Austin was so successful with, his merchandise and things like that, was because it appealed to everyone. And so we were trying to create something that, design wise appealed to whether you're a wrestling fan or not. If you're a wrestling fan, there are aspects of every design that you and only you get, and if you're not a wrestling fan,
I like this one. I love this shirt.
Sorry,
right
I like that one. Do I owe you money?
Do we have heat?
Do we have heat?
This is dope. I like this.
If you're not a wrestling fan, you get, Louis Vuitton, you get, these designs, and you can wear them, around your friends and your family, and it's, hey, that's just a cool shirt, as opposed to, oh, that's wrestling, that's fake. So.
Oh my God, I love that.
This is a good one too.
I know.
I
like these shirts. I dig them.
I'm wearing this to work. They won't get it.
Yeah, life's a work.
Working stiff. That's what my wife says. What? But this is
back in light, working stiff.
No, I really do like these designs. This shit is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like this.
Yeah, so we try to create stuff that, anyone can understand and relate to, and it just looks cool, whether you're a wrestling fan or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like everybody loves tigers.
Yeah,
Tiger Driver.
Tigers are freaking badass. This is beautiful, and I like this old school look. Anyway, so yeah, man, it's I have it right here. It's collarandelbowbrand.com.
Yep.
Amazing
and if
stuff,
they use
man.
the code Snowman, they can save 10%. Even if we have a sale, 30 or 40 or 50% off, they take that extra 10% off as well.
Awesome.
So
nice.
Very awesome. So
nice.
Al, we have you on to talk a myriad of topics, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for retweeting the clips, the occasional clip. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for promoting and having me on. I really appreciate being on.
Oh, this is cool. All right, April. So you could take. I have a couple of things we could talk about too, but
I
want you.
Go ahead. No, you start.
You sure?
Yeah.
All absolutely. Right. So this is something that's really been bothering me. And Al, are you a big sports fan? Okay. What about the NBA? Okay.
I mean, I try to keep up with things, but
that's cool. You don't need to be a fan of the NBA to understand this story. And this is where I wanted to bring up really quickly.
Sure.
There's a young man. He's about 20. I think he's 23 years old right now. His name is Ja Morant. Plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know if you guys have heard the stories out there, but I'll just wrap everything up. This kid will be making approximately $200 million next year. Now, this moron has been arrested or questioned by the police for, and I quote, punching a 17-year-old during a pickup basketball game. And I'm going to play this little clip off of his Instagram, which he deleted, but it's still here. And basically, this is what the youth of America think is cool right now. So let me just click this. 1, 2, and 3. Look at this. Is a $200 million man. Take a good look. Oh, what's that? Flashing a gun on his Insta Live.
Oh, it's that guy. Okay.
It's that guy. So my question to you both, and I'll stop sharing this guy's face here. Let me just click this. What is it about? And is this not just, people may think this is something new. This has always been, and Al, you've been in the wrestling business forever. You've seen a lot. I'm sure you've seen tons of people with amazing talent that can make tons of money, can make other people money around them.
Sure.
Why does somebody choose to be so self-destructive? Why?
Oh, man, that's a psychological question that can go so deep right there.
This story really bothered me because this kid, if you ever seen him play, he is incredible.
Sure.
but he chooses to do all of this. Like, what is it?
Dude, Laurie, you can go back so far with that. And Al, I'm sure you've seen this too, but a lot of kids grow up in such a way where they don't actually deep down inside feel like they deserve all the good that's coming to them.
He came from a good family, this guy. He wants to live that thug life. He's not a thug.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
Talk it. Let's hear what you got to say.
So you have two aspects. One is where you have a situation, because the coming from a good or a bad family, or or circumstances, really doesn't matter. Okay? And I've said this for years, and I've gotten a lot of heat for saying it, but
you have a shirt for that, by the way, in collar and elbow.
Yeah, I really don't care. It doesn't take a village to raise a child. It takes a parent to raise a child. And when wrestling was really popular, really hot, I was in WWE, they would always trot me out to do these interviews with the local press and stuff. And one of the questions that was always asked is, well, don't you think you're a role model for these young children? And I'm like, no. If your child is looking anywhere outside their front door for a role model, you as a parent are not doing your job. Now, I don't care what you teach your child. I don't. As long as you teach your child what you think is right and what's wrong, and inspire and put that in that child to where when they watch me, if it doesn't jive with what you taught them, they're not going to emulate that. They're going to emulate you, because you ultimately are the parent and you're the one who's responsible for that child. And I think too much today, whether you're from a good background or a bad background, it comes down to the responsibility of the parent and how they raise their child.
Absolutely.
100%.
And
how do you get heat off of that? I'm sorry. Why do people get angry for you saying that?
Because they don't want to hear that. That's the truth. And that's something that people don't like to hear anymore. There's not the truth anymore. It's my truth.
There's your truth, her truth. Yeah.
And that's
live your truth.
Yeah, you can live your truth. You know what it is? It's
there's a truth. Yeah, there's just one truth. That's it.
There's one truth. That's it. You can spend it however you want. But and there's also the other part of immaturity. You have children. Now, understand, this kid's 20 years old. Okay, he's 20, and he's a child. And really, you don't really, he's 18, he's an adult. No, he's not. At 18, I was not an adult. At 20, I was not an adult.
I was an idiot.
At 30, I was not an adult. Okay, I'm still just trying to figure shit out at 59. You know what I mean? I'm almost 60 and I'm still trying to figure it out. I still don't have the answers. So at 20, this kid is clueless. And the problem that really comes down to is that the people that are surrounding him, that are wanting to make money off of him, are basically treating him and engendering the idea that he's invincible and that he can't do wrong, and that he can't be held accountable, nor can he be held responsible. And unfortunately, the only reason that they have been willing to give him $200 million.
It's delicious. Sorry.
Yeah, it is. But that's $200 million of responsibility, and that's $200 million of expectations. Like, think about it. You think that's delicious. You think that's exciting. You think that's, oh my God, $200 million. You don't get that for nothing.
You don't have to sell that to me, Al.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Well, now you've got $1 billion worth of expectations, my friend. You've got $1 billion worth of investment. You've got $1 billion of consequences that are now on your shoulders. You willing to take under that $200 million worth of responsibility now?
Yeah.
You don't look at that, because if I'm going to give you 200, I want $1 billion back.
Yep.
I'm not giving it to you to give it to you. I'm investing in you.
Right.
And that means you have a responsibility. Are you willing to take $1 billion of responsibility? Are you that excited, that pressure, that stress that you're going to live with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that you're under a microscope for the rest of your god-awful life? If you are, then do it. If you're not, don't fool yourself. Don't sit there and tell yourself, oh, yeah, I'd do whatever it took to do $200 million. If you would do whatever it took, you'd be getting $200 million now. And you're not willing to do whatever it takes. And that's why you're not getting $200 million now.
You know, a great poet, a great poet from Brooklyn, New York once said, more money, more problems.
Yeah. And by the way,
because you have more you have more responsibility to more people.
Absolutely. I just want to thank everybody who's here. We are reading your comments, even though we're just, but we're seeing it.
Right.
And somebody did ask when April was this kid's age, how wild was she, or was she one of the kids with standards to avoid partying? Dude, I was a fucktard. So
that's all.
And yeah, I mean, 18 years old, I was a complete fucktard, making all kinds of bad decisions. I graduated. I was a senior at 16. My mom put me in school early just to get me out of the house, and I graduated at 17. And I left my mom's house at 17. So I was living on my own from then on, basically. So I was a weird combination of making bad decisions and then also trying to adult. And it was a conflict. By the time I turned 21, I was becoming a full-time burlesque act where I was on tour nationally. So that is when I started to handle money, because at that point, burlesque was a lot of money. So I was getting paid $2,500 a week to show up, plus tips. So I was making $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a week to work, and I had to get my ass there and be on stage and have 3 and 4 shows a day, and make sure they were going to be good shows. So I was somewhere in the middle. There was a lot of responsibility, but I was still making bad decisions. So I look back now and realize how many bad decisions I made. Dude, I turned down a WWE contract. Yeah. And I was still old enough to make decisions where I should have been smart, and I still didn't make a smart decision.
Al, you chuckled at that. Al, why did you chuckle at that, man?
Well, because they're not necessarily bad decisions. They're ultimately decisions that help to shape and form who you are.
True.
And the experience is the best and the worst teacher, because you don't get the test until you don't get the answers to the test until you failed.
True.
You know what I mean? And trust me, I've made plenty of decisions that I go back, but then I realize if I hadn't made those decisions, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So, it is what it is.
Do you ever regret using those Iron Sheik gimmicks that you guys Jesus Christ, you and David?
I don't regret them. I love them.
Shit, those things are amazing. You know what do they call again?
Well, if they're from the Indian culture, they're called joris.
Yes.
Or mudgars.
Right.
If they're from Persia, they're called meals. They're slightly shaped differently. They have a different torque, different dynamic, but each one. So
yeah, they call sciatica to me.
I don't have any meals, but I have joris.
Yeah, those things are cool, man. I see you and Dave. Man, I know I'm going off topic real quick, but I never had a chance to really. Actually, I might have told David, but what a freaking transformation that guy made, man, with his body.
Yeah.
I don't know if are you familiar with David Hero? April.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ! Do you remember when he first started with the PWR and to what he looks like now? I mean, he's a stunning man now.
He was able to reverse diabetes,
because he was losing body parts.
Yeah. And
literally.
Yeah. This little piggy went home and went to market and never came back. Cut off toes. But he was able to reverse, diabetes and everything because of his change of lifestyle and all that. So
you can. I tell people all the time, because I used to do diets for people. It's like, you can heal yourself. It's really not that difficult. You just change your lifestyle. 30 minutes of working out. Walk, do something every day. Change your diet. You can change and reverse your diabetes. You can change your blood pressure. You can change heart disease. You can get off the meds.
Yeah, people have so much more control over their life than what they really want to believe.
People have more control than they want to believe, period, end.
Yeah, yeah.
But do they want the responsibility of that control?
And that comes down to, that's what it comes down to, you know what I mean? Like we talked about with the young kid, you know.
And the wrestlers.
You know, and the wrestlers, I mean, we're some of the worst because we get to make a living fake fighting other people in our underwear for money, and you know we never really have to grow up. So, you know, this year will be 41 years that I've been able to do this for a living and nothing else. So,
wow, you're either very fortunate or very unfortunate.
I think I'm very blessed.
You are. I'm teasing you.
I like that term, blessed. April, listen, you told us that you had some big breaking. You sent me this link, and I'm like in the shower trying to hold my phone, not drop it, so that I have to buy a new one.
You're funny.
What's going on, man? Like,
I will read this to you.
All right, cool.
All right. So there was a let me find you the whole thing. So I guess today
I have the tweet, by the way. I can put it up on the screen.
Yeah, I found it. Truth Justice, and of course you're not going to see this on the news anywhere, but Truth Justice just did a breaking news. There was an emergency injunction through Switzerland that was served, and a tribunal order served to the WHO and all the criminal defendants listed below to immediately cease and desist a criminal conspiracy to commit war crimes, genocide, crimes against humanity, and to arrest and incarcerate these criminal defendants. So this is basically about the vaccine and what has been going on with how they've been handling COVID. So I'll read it to you.
I see some names down here that I'm very familiar with.
All constitutional law enforcement officers worldwide are being served, starting with Interpol and constitutional law enforcement in every one of the 194 member nations under the writs of mandamus, ordering them to carry out, and I might have said that wrong, ordering them to carry out their duties to arrest and incarcerate these criminal co-defendants for unlawful and genocidal acts in connection with the WHO pandemic preparedness response and changes to the international health regulations. Tribunal writs, God, I can't speak today, I'm so sorry, of mandamus, am I saying that right, is defined as, quote, the lawful term writ of mandamus refers to an order by a court to a lesser government official to perform an act required by law, which he has refused or neglected to do. This type of court order is a remedy that may be sought if a governmental agency, public authority, or corporation is in service of the government, fails, or refuses to do its public or statutory duty. So this has been ordered by the tribunal under Article 6, genocide, and 7, crimes against humanity of the International Criminal Code. The list of defendants.
Here we go.
Through 2009 and 2023, lockstep vaccination genocidal pandemic criminal co-conspiracy, including and not limited to individually and collectively, Bill and Melinda Gates individually and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, wow. World Health Organization and its officers, directors, employees, and agents, Tedros, I'm going to say all these names wrong, Adhanom, I can't say that, WHO Director General, Anthony Stephen Fauci,
that guy?
World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, and officers, directors, employees, and agents, Michael Bloomberg, David Rockefeller Jr., Warren Buffett, George Soros, Ted Turner, Oprah Winfrey, Rockefeller Foundation, Global Business Network, Peter Schwartz, Chairman GBN, convicted vaccination genocidal pandemic and neural monitoring governmental executive defendants, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Communist Party, Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, Donald J. Trump, Joseph R. Biden, Benjamin Netanyahu, Boris Johnson, Matt Hancock, U.S. Secretary of Health, UK Secretary of Health, the Crown Corporation and any and all of its subsidiaries, including and not limited to Serco, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, Scott Morrison, Prime Minister of Australia, Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand, Stefan Löfven, Prime Minister of Sweden, Minister of Health, Lena Hallgren, Oh my God, there's so many on
Well,
here.
let's just stop.
I mean,
real quick.
everybody.
I mean, so pretty much it
Yeah.
looks like Al and it looks like April, the 1% of the world. So let's fast forward down this list. So now
Go to
what
the
is
end.
going on? So like what's
But at the end, it says Global Alliance Vaccine Initiative, the Vaccine Alliance, including not limited to its pandemic vaccine program, World COVAX, People's Republic of China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and the Pierre Bright Institute.
Sure.
good Lord. Wow. All right. So in layman's terms, let's say somebody like me that had only have like a third grade education. Like break this down to me in layman's terms. Like what the hell is going on? Like, all these people, I'm supposed to trust these people, not Dr. Fauci.
Well, there's a video that will explain. Right, here we go. What's going on with it. So
it's in the tweet. It's in
I
the
didn't.
tweet.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to. That happened literally right before we came on. So obviously a lot of the stuff that has been happening, all these little trials that have been going on are actually kind of big trials. They have not been on mainstream media, but if you've been looking around the internet, you've probably seen them on Instagram, Twitter, maybe even Facebook. So all of these things are adding up. Where there's, Fauci has lied, and I found out that American tax dollars did fund COVID gain of function research. So we literally paid for COVID, for our lockdowns, for our mask mandates, for all of this to happen to us. So they're finding all of this out. So they're finally doing the real science and the real research independently.
So Al, one name I didn't see there is Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
What a surprise!
That's the one slick son of a bitch, pal.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on this, man? Just like
the only thing I could say is that I think no matter what side you're on, I think, and I don't know why it's become
why is it two sides?
But I don't know why it's become so wrong to question everything.
See, that's our thing.
Even if you're being given information that, let's say, is pro-vaccine, why aren't you allowed anymore to question it? If you're given information that's anti-vaccine, why are you now not allowed to question that? Why are you not allowed to be cynical anymore? Why are you not allowed to formulate your own opinion? Why is it that you have to accept whatever the narrative from any one person is or any one side, and you can't make those decisions for yourself, and let's face it, from both sides, you face ridicule and you face criticism for doing that simple act of questioning, of having some cynicism and some circumspection, and wanting to require more information. And I don't understand where we have gotten as a society to where that's now wrong, where used to that was the norm, where you were allowed to do that.
Really quick, I mean to interrupt you, but we're closer in age than April. April's in her mid-20s, right?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Remember when we were kids, Al, and we
Yeah.
would get in trouble for not asking questions in class?
Sure. Yeah.
Remember that?
But you don't know. You
Don't just sit there and accept what we have to say. Ask questions.
Yeah.
You don't have a question? No questions,
Because that's
anybody?
ultimately, and that is how you really learn. That's how you learn to discern from your own worldview, is by asking questions and investigating, and and again, you may not have to, and where has it become to where if you don't agree with me,
you're a racist.
Some aspects, you're wrong.
You're a racist.
Like, you're a racist.
On one side, you're on
You're
one side of the
transphobe.
fence or another. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because when the media started being owned by 6 corporations, and they started to fear you and steer you in any direction.
Remember, keep in mind, okay, Everybody went and protested at the Federal Reserve and said the key words, we're the 99%. Okay. Now we're no longer the 99%. Now you have a label. Now you have a label. Now I have a label. Now we're not united anymore. Now we're not the 99%. Now there's 10% of you. There's 20% of you.
And I think we lost.
him.
We lost
Sorry,
him.
it was phone. Sorry, it was phone.
It's all right now.
There's 15% of somebody else. So now there's no longer 99% of any one group. It's all these individualistic groups that have their individualistic perceptions, their individualistic dichotomies, their own directions, their own interpretations, their own personalities, and everyone that is not them is now wrong. So, you remember the movie Ants?
Yes.
And in the the scene where the grasshoppers were like, we don't want to ever allow the ants to realize that there are more of them than there are of us, and that they really have more of the power than we do. You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. And that was why they repealed the law that allowed the U.S. government to propagandize its own citizens. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, but don't fool yourself. Don't think, because regardless of whether you're a Republican or a conservative, or you're a Democrat or a liberal, you're in between, they are two wings on the same bird.
Yep.
And those people, no matter who you elect,
that was wonderful.
Okay, no matter who you elect,
that was awesome.
They don't care about you. Now they'll tell you they do, but they don't care about you. And two of the biggest works in the world, in life, are wrestling and politics. And we have gotten to the point where both are so arrogant that they don't even try to hide it from the general public anymore. They just straight up tell them, hey, yeah, we're bullshitting you, and we know it, and there's nothing you can do about it,
Yeah.
And you've just got to accept what it is we tell you, and take it for what it is. And and God help you, you're demonized if you question anything outside of what's popularly accepted, and oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you wear a tinfoil hat. I've never worn one in my life, but the one thing I do is I do question everything, because I know everybody's got an angle, and everybody's working, and everybody's trying to get over on everybody else. And that's not being cynical, and that's not being pessimistic, and that's just life. That, you go to a car lot and try to buy a car. The car salesman is trying to work you into buying the car so that he can get over, so he can feed his family. The politician ain't looking to serve the public. The best example of this I can give you, okay?
V for Vendetta.
This happened. But honestly, the best example I can give you of this, it was such a moment for me, and it was so simplistic. Just recently, I go do a public appearance here in Louisville, help to promote OVW, and it's in Germantown, section of Louisville, okay? And every year they have this celebration. I can't remember what the thing is. It's a goofy German thing, because of course, it has to be something like that. So they have a little stick that's about 6 inches long. It's like shaped like a football, and it lays on the ground. And then you have basically like a broomstick. It's about 2 inches around. It's about 4 feet long. And then the objective is to hit that small missile-shaped piece of wood.
Is it Oktoberfest? Oktoberfest?
No.
I'm trying to look this up, man, to help you out.
I can't remember what the name of the thing is, but you hit it with your broomstick and you pop it up off the ground, and then you have to use the broomstick to hit the missile-shaped stick as far as you can for distance. Okay, it's a competition. So that's it's not really that important, but that I was there to take part in this. Okay. And it wasn't, I didn't even realize it, but they bring me over and they go, hey, here's the VIP sign up list. Cause there are hundreds of people that are signing up to take part of this competition. Okay. And I sign up and I'm like number 40 or 42 or something like that. And we're standing there and all of the VIP people, okay? This was fascinating because I didn't even realize it until the guy that works for me in OVW, his name's Brian Kennison. He is the commentator, and he was the one who, it was such insight. All of the people that were a part of the VIP list were all public servants. They were all elected officials or people that were candidates to be elected. And they got to go before the very people they were supposed to serve.
Hold on, I think my wife is calling me. No, it's not her. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Do you,
Okay.
in that,
And I did, right?
Fascinating that you are trying to be elected as a public servant, but yet now you are being afforded privilege before the very public that you serve because you get to go before anyone else.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we have become a society that now we treat senators and congressmen and mayors and governors as if they're royalty. Like they have special privilege.
Yes,
like
sir.
they are now in a status above us when it really is that they work for us. And
They're public servants.
Correct.
Hello.
But we treat them as if they're
Mhm.
royalty,
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have, as a country, we've went wrong,
Jeez, man.
And we've given these people in politics a free pass. They now feel, I think the system has become so corrupt from local to county to state to federal that it's the norm of operation for them. And, the objective is to just become in those positions of power and authority so that you can now benefit yourself, not anyone else.
Al, just recently there was a in Chicago. We spoke about this last week where Lori Lightfoot was basically voted out of her position as mayor. And, I'm going to use her as an example. Al, tell me if you agree or disagree, but she was the perfect example of somebody who just wanted to push whatever agenda she wanted to push. She wasn't working for the actual citizens. If she was working for the citizens, then when crime spiked, I think it was 150% the second term she was in office. And I might be lowballing that. I mean, these quote unquote public servants, the way we teach them a lesson is by getting rid of them.
True.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that you can single out any one particular politician.
No, I'm using her as an example.
I know that, but
Right.
you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You should use them all.
It's true.
Not one of them
you're right,
is
man.
better. Not one of them is better than any other.
Right.
Not one of them. Not one of them. Whether I don't care what side of the fence you're on, it means nothing to me because I don't give a two cents about politics.
Mhm.
It's so absolutely, completely corrupt. The idea that you really think that you're going to elect someone who's going to genuinely care about you, they aren't. They're going to use you to ultimately benefit and further themselves.
I'm curious to ask, do you guys ever think we'll ever get to this point as a society where we do abolish single elected officials and we govern ourselves? Is that going to ever happen?
No,
like a
we should
tribunal
never.
type
We
thing?
should never. No, we should never be allowed to.
Why not, Al? I'm just asking.
Because we're all fucking lunatics.
We're too stupid.
That's why.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Because of the very reason we have the system we have now. We're all self-centered. We're all self-interested. We're all, and to believe anything else is complete BS. But yeah, we should have term limits for congressmen and for senators. You should not be a career politician. You shouldn't die in office. I don't care what anybody says.
Agreed.
There's no
100%.
reason for that.
Mitch McConnell.
Who?
There should be no lobbyists. There should be no, if you are trying to get elected to me, tell me what you've done or are going to do to get term limits, to disallow insider trading as far as Congress is concerned, to prevent lobbyist influence and power. If you can tell me things like that, I'll elect you. Otherwise, I don't have a time of day for you. Okay. Right. Simple as that. I think, quite honestly, we're in a day and age, we don't need Congress anymore. We don't.
Or health insurance.
Congress was elected and put in place in a time and period where we needed people to genuinely physically go to Washington and to represent us. We now have the technology that once a month, we should have the ability with our phones and everything else, and it should be election day once a month. And here are the list of proposals as far as new legislature, and you read it and you go, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. I don't need Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell to sit up there and create seats of power and influence that's for their benefit and their benefit alone and not mine. I can get rid of them and we can do it all digitally. And no more where we have a bill that's for one law that is 3 chapters long that has all this other BS in it.
Yeah, I was going to say that has all the piggyback laws too.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's just simply, do we do this or we don't? Do we do this one or do we don't? And the reason they will never do that is because it completely upends the system and takes away their ability to control the system. They control all of us.
Yeah, they use a natural gas. It's like they word these bills too on the voting. Yeah. It's so fuckety. It's not even funny. Like people can't even understand what they are. And if they we actually in Florida voted against solar energy because of the way it was worded. So, and it was the Duke Energy lobbyists that worded it that way. So
but again, it's the influence of outside interests that are now affecting policy that affects the general public that are now paying for those policies. And until we eliminate that, which by doing away with Congress, which we still technologically we could do today, we do away with all of the lobbyist influence. We do away with. And now they'll find other ways. Sure. They'll, like the pharmaceutical companies now, because of Reagan allowing, pharmaceutical companies to advertise on TV, we have that influence, but at least it's trying to influence us. It's not trying to influence other people that have even completely separate interests from us. So.
I just really want to quickly jump in. Al, how much more time do you have for us, my friend?
I get a little bit more time. Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure. We usually go an hour and a half. If we go a little over.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to throw it out there.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
Has it been?
Yeah. I don't know how fascinating my part of it has been, but
we're quite. I don't know. I'm speaking for myself. I'm enjoying this conversation between us three.
I want to go back to what some of your topics, but I wanted to throw something in here real quick before we move on.
Is this the video you sent me?
No.
I have that ready if you ever want
do you?
to
Okay.
talk about it. Yep.
No, somebody said that's Morty. Yeah, that is Morty. I'm a medical foster. So I have a new little guy with me this week.
Oh, he's not so little. He's an American Pit?
He's something like that, or a boxer mix. Yeah, he's a good boy. Little bit dumb, a little bit sweet. So I was just going to mention before we go into some other stuff and I thought this was really interesting. Psychology Today came out with an article on how to have a better recovery on your weekends. Because a lot of people, especially in America, we don't get a lot of time off. And when we do, we often spend it doing everything around the house that we can't get done during the week. And apparently we're just not regenerating, and it leads to burnout real fast. So, and it also leads to like the Sunday blues. You know, you get to Sunday and you're just like, you can't even enjoy Sunday because you know you have to go back to work on Monday. So here's a quick idea of how maybe you can regenerate more effectively. So you have to take 3 things into consideration. So what is the mental nature of your work? So it's saying those in non-creative jobs should look for ways to explore their creativity through hobbies like photography or writing, maybe painting. So if you're in like a menial job type of thing where you're dealing with customers, customer service, sales, maybe doing something creative on the weekends is the way to go. If you are in a creative field, you might find that doing something menial works for you, like gardening, mowing the lawn, something less creative.
You don't like to mow the lawn now?
Well, you know,
sucks.
Something where you don't have to be creative. It helps you shut your brain off a little bit. So some of that work. Number 2 is, what is the physical nature of your work? So if you're very physical, you might want to sit down for a little bit. If you sitting at a computer desk all the time, you might want to get up and move. So, you know, this is common sense, but I don't know if a lot of us kind of take that into account. And number 3, what is this?
Very common.
Right, exactly. And third, what is the social nature of your work? So if you are working with a lot of people, you might want to have more solitude or quiet time on the weekends. If you work from home, work by yourself, you might want to get out and socialize. Right. So whatever you are doing, whether it's being, you know, someone's like, watch porn and play putt-putt.
That
so,
works.
yeah, whatever works for you, dude. So
it's always playing with balls.
Yeah, exactly.
All about the balls. Yeah.
But, you know, whatever it is that you are doing for work, do the opposite on the weekends, and you might get more out of your downtime, and it might help regenerate you a little bit better and avoid some of that burnout.
What does
one of the things, I apologize, I want to interrupt.
No, I was going to ask you what are your thoughts?
One of the things that I found that there for a while, it was like I had anxiety of I'm not doing enough, and I think a lot of people suffer from that.
Yeah, shoulda.
How to rest.
Suffer from the shouldas.
I'm not living enough. I'm not saving enough. I'm not, and I realized it's because you're inundated. Literally in today's society, you're inundated with nothing but, oh, you're not saving enough.
You should be. You should
be. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that helped me was I just shut the TV off.
Yeah, man.
You know,
and get off the phone.
It was the biggest influence in regards to the should be's. You should be this. You should be that. You should be that. I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day to be all the things I should be. You know what I mean? I don't know how people can do it. I really don't. And I don't know how you can possibly live a life that everyone is trying to portray that you have to live. So if you just shut it out and just go live your life, a lot of that goes away. You know, whether it's Monday through Friday or Saturday and Sunday, if you just stop trying to live up to everyone else's expectations and live up to your own, you'll be fine.
What do you do to wind down now? Like let's say, well, what did you do when you were full time? You don't. Well then, looks like we just this whole topic went down the toilet. What's going on over here?
He does adult coloring books.
I do adult coloring books. Yeah.
This is like
That's what my friend does. My friend will sit here and do adult coloring books, and she fucking loves it.
Those are awesome. I'm in the
she does Alice in Wonderland. She's sitting here making, you know, psycho bunnies and, you know, sexy Alice in Wonderlands, and she has a blast with it.
Awesome. I read a lot. I mean, I've always been, you know, an insatiable reader. I've read every classic novel you can think of. I've read the Quran. I've read the Bible. I haven't read the Torah yet. Ignore that. That's just the arena phone. I never answer it. You know, that's one of the things that I've always enjoyed doing is reading. But you know, for some people that, you know, they can't find the time or whatever, one of the things that you can do is just, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
I read all the religious books too.
Yeah. It's just not, pay attention. I mean, not let, people dictate what you should and shouldn't and should be and shouldn't be, and just do your thing. I mean, it's hard because we all are so centered around other people's judgments of, and their evaluation of what our lives should be or shouldn't be at whatever point in time. And, one of the things I've been blessed with by doing something is, with running away with the circus, like I did when I was 18, is that, it took a while, but I started to realize that no one else lives a life like that I do, or no one else has. And that's good and that's bad, but at the same time, it's not neither one. It gives me a different outlook on life than other people have. That doesn't quite fit into the norm of society, for certain. And, but at the same time, it also gives me more of a understanding of life than what other people have because of the experiences I've had because of that life. So, and I can't, we're all raised in this country, especially more so than anywhere else in the world, to the Ozzie and Harriet lifestyle of, dad goes to work, comes home, mom's there, we have white picket fence, and everyone has to subscribe to that lifestyle. And everyone doesn't have to subscribe to that lifestyle. You do you, and just be you and don't worry about what other people think, because who cares? I think Dr. Seuss said those that mind don't matter, and those that matter don't mind.
Don't mind. I love that.
And if you really genuinely live your life like that, it makes life so much easier for you.
I 100% agree. And Ray, I don't even know what video I sent you. What did I send you?
I can play it.
Is that the Russell Brand one?
This guy don't look like Russell Brand to me.
Okay.
He looks like I don't know. He looks like a mix between Tony Danza and.
I sent you so many things. Which one did I send you?
All right, let's see. Let me just share it here. This is like that. Look familiar.
Yeah, you don't look like Russell Brand.
Oh, yes. This is the one about, yes. It's about Americans being denied access to basic information. Al might like this one too.
All right, so I will play it. And you tell me if you need me to stop it. Here we go.
Go ahead.
The United States is attacking ordinary, intelligent human beings by depriving them of any basic knowledge of what is actually going on. We don't know what happened with the origin of COVID. We have no idea about Epstein. We don't know what's going on with the vaccines. We don't understand the source of the inflation. We blinded ourselves from looking at the M1 monetary aggregate when the Fed pumped us full of cheap cash. We have no clue how to resolve something as dumb as the Epstein. To whom did Ghislaine traffic? I don't know.
Yeah, well, can't find it. Sorry, bye.
Yeah.
No.
That's called propaganda.
Oh.
And it's being utilized at an alarming rate. And again, guys, the one thing everyone should do, question everything.
Mm-hmm.
Question it all. Don't just accept whatever the narrative is. Don't accept what it is that makes you feel comfortable. Question, doubt, be curious, give some kind of inspection, give some introspection, give some retrospection, but certainly always be suspect of everything that's being told to you. That's your real responsibility, as a person and as a citizen. Don't just accept what's being sold to you. And if they're going to sell it to you, make them earn it. Make them convince you. So that way, at least if you're on that side of the fence, at least if you're on that side of the fence, look, you're 100% on that side of the fence because you bought and paid for it. But don't just take anything just on face value. Always question, always wonder, always doubt, never just assume.
Russell Brand said something, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, it was very interesting. And he said he feels that obviously this two-party system is dividing people, and
Such horseshit.
he thinks that it's more about the military-industrial complex, and that
Of
the
course it is.
liberals, the
Yeah.
common liberals today, are like the Republicans a decade or 15 years ago, and the military-industrial complex has just moved into the liberal camp instead. But instead, the liberals are using causes and people to further their agenda. So they're using issues, everything from abortion to trans to racism to all these things, to power their motive, which is still just the military industrial complex. They don't actually give a shit about anyone, but they are using all of these people, and they're using this message to further their agenda. And at the end of the day, they don't give a flying fuck about anyone. They don't care about helping anyone, and it's just manipulation. And I thought he just called it straight out like that. And he called out one of the reporters that was there too. And he's like, "How can you sit there and say that Fox News is this when you're just as bad?" And I was like,
They are. And they are.
I just love the balls on him.
The two easiest things to manipulate on a mass scale are anger and fear. They're unquestionably. They're the two easiest things. And the easiest way to unite any group, no matter what you call them liberal, trans, LGBTQ, black, white, Puerto Rican, Mexican, Asian, whatever you want to call them, whatever you want to label them, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, all you do to easily manipulate and to amass support is to create a common enemy. That's it.
Yeah. And I think the best way to unite people is with tacos.
Oh God, I love tacos.
I love street tacos.
I just think you get everybody together, Louisville, you have some tacos, and everybody done.
Here in Louisville, the best tacos are El Moquete over by the Derby, by the Kentucky Derby on 4th Street. Oh my God, they're incredible.
You've been to New York. I'm many.
Big taco party.
Oh, big taco party.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place in New York City, Al?
Oh, geez, I'd have to think about that.
To eat tacos.
Yeah, it's been a while since I ate tacos in New York City.
Yeah, they're not as good anymore.
We don't have any good places here.
There's still a couple of good places. I know there was a food truck out in Denver. God,
I want tacos too.
Off the food truck were amazing. Oh my God! But I'm telling you, the El Moquete here in Louisville, like the food truck in Denver, like they're transcendental. I mean, insane.
Oh, really? Yeah, I miss. We have Cuban food here in Florida. We don't have good Mexican, and it's just so depressing.
Cuban food though is good too, though.
It doesn't have the flavor. Like Brazilian food's good.
What?
Yeah.
No.
What kind of Cuban food are you eating?
No, it does not have it just doesn't have the flavor
bro.
that Mexican food has or that Brazilian food has.
I think you're eating the wrong Cuban spots, because over here in New York City, you get Cuban food.
You know what? No, you're getting
phenomenal.
Yeah, but you're getting Cuban food with New York flavor. Real Cuban food doesn't have a lot of flavor because they don't have access to a lot of
with a Puerto Rican cook.
Exactly.
Well, I'm Puerto Rican.
Exactly.
So are you trying to say that we're adding adobo to our?
Yes,
maybe.
I am. Yes, I am, and I would
Well,
bet money on it because I actually was in Cuba, and you know what they told me? They're like, we try. They're like, but we can't always get the spices and the things we need to cook, so we do the best we can.
I will put.
And I was
adobo,
like, that's why your food's so bland.
I will put adobo in cereal if I could. It is phenomenal. I have no idea.
For me, it's jalapeno salt. I love jalapeno salt. It makes everything taste better. No, it's so good.
Yes. Hell yeah. Jalapenos.
Jalapeno salt makes everything better.
Yeah, they don't live.
Jalapenos. Listen,
Not a
hear me
real
out.
spicy person.
Jalapenos.
Jalapenos. And pineapple on pizza. What?
Pineapple, yeah.
Oh, goddamn right.
Are we three pineapple people? Yeah.
Yeah. Not too many people are pineapple people,
Dude,
so we're copacetic here.
I hate those people that are like, pineapple does not belong on pizza. It's like, have you fucking had it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Have you had it?
Horrible.
You haven't had it. You're just going along with the trend. You're the people that believe that you should get married and have a white picket fence and 2 kids. Get the fuck out of my face.
And they don't question anything.
No.
They just go along with it.
Go away.
Yeah.
Try something new. I think, guys, unless there's one more thing you want to bring up, this seems like a really cool time to maybe let's talk
I
about.
gotta go teach my history class.
Yeah, I figured. Talk about what Al's doing next. I have this scrolling down here. We want people to support your local wrestler and shopping at collarandelbowbrand.com. That's cool. But what else you got going out on Al? And then we'll say our goodbyes.
I have a comic book that's out, 2 of them. The Ballad of Al Snow and Head. It's a standalone adventure. And then the first one was in a post-apocalyptic world where I have a detective agency with Head and Pierre and Pepper. And,
That's fucking great.
A waitress I overhear lost her heart, and I take the case on and go try to solve the mystery of retrieving her heart. Actually, she was in love, but I actually found a heart for her. And then the second one is The Adventures of Al Snow and Head, and I team up with Chavo Guerrero and Pepe the Stick Horse.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm teaming up with Scotty
That is so fun.
Juhadi and Tommy Dreamer. Chavo is a Western. Tommy Dreamer is set back in the Prohibition era. Scotty Juhadi is like an assassin comic book.
Oh my God.
So
Is
they're
this
true
is
to
this
the.
some of your stuff right there?
And then the metaverse, or that one, part of 2 video games. One is WrestleQuest, and that one too.
I like that.
And then OVW, you can go to ovwrestling.com, check it out. And we're live on Fight TV from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Thursday night, Eastern time. You can follow me at The Real Al Snow on social media. So,
All right.
Hey,
Well,
hold on. I can't let Al go until. Aren't you a super friend? You gonna
I'm
bury
a super friend. Yes.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
all
wait.
super
Absolutely.
friends.
Yes, we're all super friends with superfriends.com. You can go to Dave Hero, and he has Super Friends. He's got God, I can't think of what it is right now. He does autograph sales and all of that too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, if you just Google David Hero and Super Friends, a whole bunch of cool stuff.
A whole bunch of stuff pop up. Yeah.
Oh, did you know? I was Cal's very first professional wrestling interview. Me and Ben.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, we the
Awesome.
very first interview before he actually got in the ring.
Yeah.
We had the very handsome Cal Hero. Now he has a mustache and muscles. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. And a
He's
mullet.
grown up so fast. And a mullet, yes, and a fanny pack. Go ahead, April.
That's right.
no, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who came and watched us live tonight. Appreciate all of you. I know we didn't get to take a lot of questions, but thank you. We read all of them. And I also want to mention that we have a special guest next week for St. Patty's Day.
What?
Your favorite cosplayer and mine. We have Shelly Martinez returning with her amazing cleavage and her sense of humor.
It is amazing, by the way.
We will have a good time with you, me, Shelly, where we'll have some fun. And Al can't leave here without pec flexing.
Yeah, you got to pec flex.
Yes, we have to pec flex out of here, right?
I'm wearing black, so. Well, for myself, Big Ray Hernandez, for April Hunter, and our amazing, really cool, and just. It's been an absolute pleasure, Al, having you on, man.
Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate being on.
I would love to say that we'd have him back on, but I don't know if you have the time, Al.
I'd love to. You just let me know, and I'll be making the time.
Awesome.
Okay?
We would love to have you back on. Thank you for taking the time to be here for us and everything.
Yeah,
everything I hope for and more, guys.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, guys, here on the Age Show. With Shelly Martinez.
Ooh, tell her I said hi.
I will. Bye, you guys.
Bye, guys.